Mount Vernon, a hotbed of corruption and dishonesty, and someone should hold the elected officials and local government accountable. And that's where we come in. This is Mount Vernon Exposed. Getting to the bottom of local government, exposing corruption, looking out for you, and keeping them honest. Let's do this. This is Mount Vernon Exposed. And this is your host, Samuel L. Rivers.
Good evening. So, we have a good show lined up for you guys tonight. Tomorrow is primary day in the city of Mount Vernon. And we just want to weigh in on the election. We want to make sure you make the best choice at the ballot box tomorrow. We're weighing in last night. The mayor did have a Sundays with Sean. And, she had her Mount Vernon Forward candidates on there. And, she's typical Sean Patterson Howard fashion, gaslighting, just that complaining. I need this team to move the city forward. We need police cars. We need DPW trucks. We need to restore our bond rating. Whining. People see her as the whining mayor, and you just got to be smart when you go to the ballot box and use common sense. And now she campaigned on restoring the bond rating, and now you have the city council slate that is stating that they're going to restore the bond rating. They have absolutely no control over restoring the bond rating. That is purely between the finance department and the mayor. That's it. And now these other candidates were saying that we need the streets paved. We need updating technology and the building department, a whole bunch of other things where those are executive branch functions. They are not legislative duties. And it is quite dangerous. None of these candidates that are running know the difference between the executive branch and the legislative branch. The legislative branch passes laws. The executive branch enforces the laws. So I don't know of one piece of legislation presented to the city council that they did not sign. And whether it being for, police cars. So as far as I know, 99% of the city's business gets done. They even passed the legislative branch of city council. They passed, and just want to let everybody know the phone lines are open if you want to call in, and you also can, if you're on the app, you can send the comments. So this is for you guys. It was brought back by popular request. Someone's telling me, I'm tired of the mayor going on live every day on Facebook. She's like, they call her Sean Springer. So I said, you know what, I will, we'll have to do something about this. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give you guys a platform, and power in numbers. The politicians need to remember they work for us. It is not the other way around. We can fire them at any time. And I'm asking everyone to fire her city council candidates before they even get the job tomorrow. Just like, you're fired, don't even get that job, because it's easy to get them in. It's harder to get them out. They become entrenched. They start making backdoor deals. So let's just talk about one piece of legislation that the mayor, and you can look this up. She did an interview maybe about 3 weeks ago in the Yonkers Voice. Rue Ross and the mayor did, she interviewed her. So we went on the interview, and Miss Smith, when we was asked, I asked the question. I asked her about the no bid contract. So anything that is over $50,000 needs to go for RFP. For the audience that doesn't know, it's request for proposal. So it goes out, Cecile bid comes back, and usually the lowest award, the lowest price, the lowest bid gets it. That's what is done with Memorial Field. When you go police cars, buy any big ticket item, you have this bidding process. And so this mayor decided to reward her campaign, lobbyists. He has so many hats: developer, campaign manager, developer, lobbyist. I don't understand why we need lobbyists in the city of Mount Vernon if you're from Mount Vernon. I can see if you not from here and that's your business, but I don't see Kenny Plummer going down to Washington D.C. lobbying Congress or the Jamal Bowman or any of these guys for bringing back dollars. That's what a lobbyist does. They bring in dollars. They don't lobby for buildings and stuff like that. They lobby laws, special interests, like tobacco. They get the money, but they don't lobby for low income buildings. That's beneath them. So we need to take a hard look, as Mayor says. We need to take a hard look at Mr. Plummer and see his business. This is a guy. It's all factual. And if I'm lying, everyone can sue me for defamation. It's factual. He lives at 1416 Martin's Place. This is a guy, a couple of years, that didn't have two nickels to rub together. He was paying, he's getting his Con Ed bill cut off and so forth. And you might say, why are you going into his business? And, it's very important that we divulge those facts. Because now he is a developer of a 315 unit, probably like a $50 million building. So how do you go from getting your lights turned off all of a sudden? I mean, this would be the perfect rags to riches story, but that's not the case. You get it for whatever you promised the mayor. We know her campaign was funded heavy. We still don't know how much she spent, and for her, well, we know on paper. And then there's another slush fund called the inaugural fund that we don't know what is in. It's private. It's private. We don't know how much money is in that inaugural account. She's cutting checks to A and B and Z, and developer, we don't know. This is the same thing that Richard Thomas got jammed up for. He's using it as a slush fund, going to Bubba Gump Shrimp and taking pics to Mexico and paying Amex bills. It's exactly what got him jammed up. And we have this Kenny Plummer, funnily. I mean, if you look at this election for this city council race, more money was poured in to this race than any race. I mean, it just behooves me on how much money they're spending. And they're only taking down the signs of the opposition. And we got to ask ourselves, only you see, I didn't see any signs on public property regarding from the Democratic Party, with the exception of Darren Morton and Tyree. So you know who's behind them. But for the endorsed city council candidates, they're obeying the laws, they're doing the right thing. But on the Mount Vernon Forward slate, and I didn't see any signs with Nicole Lucio. I could give it to her. I didn't see any signs on public property. She's been adhering to the law. But on the Mount Vernon Forward slate, they have all of these. They have all of these things, all these signs, just going all over the place. It's just ridiculous. But signs don't vote. You know, it'll be, people need to turn up and turn out tomorrow and send this slate home, because if they get in, you know, you deserve what you get. I mean, I'm a straight shooter. You deserve what you get. If they get elected, you can say hello to big buildings that's going to pay no taxes for 20 to 30 years. Say hi for decreased city services. And she's saying that the bond, we need bonding, you know, the police cars. I purposely think that she let this city fall into disrepair so she can come with this Mount Vernon Forward slate like they're saving the day. You know, she didn't do anything. You know, all she does is just go on Facebook, go on live, place blame, and it's never her fault. It's never her fault. You know, she's not telling you about the bills. You know, she makes it seem like Deborah Reynolds is a horrible person, but the lights are still on at City Hall, so obviously that bill is getting paid. So someone said BP gas station took that aside. So what I did, I made a complaint. So just so you know, when you have knowledge, you have power. So when you have a corporation and these things, and that's what happened during the mayor's campaign with Richie. They're not allowed. So if you go to Sunoco saying like you're supporting these candidates, they try to be non-political and be like, listen, this candidate supports this position on these issues. You don't ever see a presidential sign. It's like a Biden sign. You never see them on franchise. You don't see them on shopping malls. They don't get into this. This is only for like private property. So yeah, BP gas station took their sign down. I wrote to Conoco on South 4th Avenue in Sanford, and we need to hold them accountable. Don't shop there. We don't shop there. We it's money earned in Mount Vernon. We can choose where we spend our dollars, and we got to make people feel it in the pocket, and that's the only way they're going to respect us. Martin Luther King, you know, he boycotted the buses in Montgomery for over 360 something days, and they went bankrupt. So we have a say so on our dollars. Now the BP on 3rd and Columbus, I drove down there. They still have their sign up, but I believe that's a different owner from the BP on next to the Columbus Diner. So what was I going to say now? So then we're just going to weigh in. People do not really know, and you guys are welcome to call in. I'm going to just pull up some documents here. It's very serious here. So most people don't know that Kenny Plummer, you know, he's I don't know, he's a landlord, and he was a driving force, like that client that owns that building, Roosevelt Square. They tried to turn it into a cooperative, like a cooperative work, similar to like what WeWork has in the city. So, you know, it's you know, you rent it. the desk by the day. If you want an office, you can pay by the month. So when that guy bought that building, it was horrible. Kenny Plummer, at that time, worked with the building department and got all their permits. They renovated, and I believe he probably got some free office space out of there. We don't know. But the relationship must have went sour between him and the landlord. So I received a tip one day that Kenny Plummer was behind on his rent, and he had an action currently filed in court. Let me just pull up those documents. I just released those yesterday, and you can really see all these documents because I believe in facts. We're not going to pontificate like the mayor does on a daily basis. We like documents. We like facts. If you go to Mount Vernon Exposed Facebook page, you will find all of these documents. So he has 2 dockets. Let me just get to this. There's so much content that I post here. Okay, hold on one second, guys. So he has two dockets here with the city court in Mount Vernon, and these were filed in 2020. So at the time he was behind about $50,000 in rent, $56,000 in rent, and that's in 2020. And he, on another docket, he's behind. So one docket, he's behind $10,500, and he has maybe have 2 offices there. That rent is $1,500 a month, and that was from August 2019. COVID didn't hit until March of 2020. So he can't blame it on COVID. No, not at all. He can't blame it on COVID. And he has another one since January 2018. He hasn't paid the rent. That was, I would say, January 18. I believe that was, he wasn't paying the rent. Yeah, when Sean was sworn in 2019. Yeah, so he hasn't paid rent at all. And that rent, it was $545 a month. I don't know what kind of rate that he had, but all of a sudden it tripled or went up to $11,000 in rent. So he owes $56,000 on one docket. And he has 2 different spaces there. So he has $56,000 and $10,500. And miraculously, the ordinance that was passed by the city council, it was for $60,000. I don't know if they're occupying any offices there. I think that whole thing was a sham, and the mayor got really defensive on it. Instead of, she said, acknowledging that she should have went to an RFP, she doubled down and said she deflected. She sent the documents to her her youth borough commissioner. So just so you know, she was the mentor for Richard Thomas. So just like mentor, mentee, she is claiming plausible deniability. So basically, oh, I didn't do it. I'm far away from it. I didn't know. Ignorance is not a defense is a defense in court. You can't tell the judge. You just can't say, "Oh, I didn't know." Yeah, Richie tried to talk his way out of an indictment too. Actually, he did talk his ways out of his indictment, but he did. He did talk his way out of an indictment. So, but I don't think Sean is not that politically savvy like Richard Thomas. Yeah, he did talk himself out of an indictment with the water department. And then he put all the blame on Lawrence Bakari. So this slate here. So running down here, let you know about the slate tomorrow. I'll let you know what you get. See, Caitlin Gleason, she did something very, very naughty. And, I saw an email the other day by Lauren Razor. She was the former corporation counsel. She's part of the Save Mount Vernon group. Let me just read you what she wrote, and you can tell for yourself. There was this videos online, if you Google it. Richard Thomas's sister, Jacine, I saw it. She called her a white supremacist. And we need to look at these things. We can't have these people making laws that, affect the population if that is their beliefs. So, we need to take a hard look at Caitlin. Supposedly, there was a report that she destroyed, the library finances. I'm reading Lauren Razor's email. She says, as Spike Lee would say, wake up. Miss Gleason clearly owes the community. Hold on, just these smartphones. You just push one button, and it just. This was a very good. Well-written post by Miss Lauren Razor. Let me just get back to it. Okay, sorry about that. Miss Gleason clearly owes the community an apology for not keeping a closer eye on the Mount Vernon Public Library finances. And that was written by Mr. Christopher McDonough, and he has an organization. If you want to look up the report card, it's mountvernoncitizen.org. And so when next door participants tell black folks that we are singling out Caitlin Gleason, there is a real reason why, not because she is white. And it says Mount Vernon Public Library is filled with old yesteryear cronies. Budget is not transparent for the $4.5 million it receives. We're going to get into another show tomorrow. On Thursday, where give you a preview. Hope Marable, who is the attack dog. I'm not even going to mention the name of the group because we don't want to make her famous. But she's the attack dog. We just learned that she changed the signatories on the bank account for Sterling Bank, allowing her and Judy Williams to be the only signers. And that possibly is some criminal activity. But we're going to get into that on Thursday, so you want to miss that show. Also, the Mount Vernon Public Library has no state registration certification, and the state threatened to take it over last year because they cannot agree on the 5th board member. And there are no completed audits after Clayson service as the Finance Committee chair. So, where are the audits, Caitlin? So, this is a person head of the Finance Committee on the City Council. She can't manage a $4.5 budget. We have a $120 million budget on the City Council. The City of Mount Vernon has a $120 million budget. What makes you think she can handle that? It's ridiculous. It says she's an opportunist. She runs with Kenny Plummer with the Mount Vernon Forward. And now she's saying now Caitlin, she was the second, I don't know if she still is, but she was the second vice chair of the Mount Vernon Democratic Committee for years. And all of a sudden, once she got kicked off, because, as the Bible says, you can't serve two masters, So she was kicked off. She wanted the best of both worlds. She thought, I have a shoe in. I'm going to run with the Democratic Party. I'm going to run with the Mount Vernon Forward. I got a shoe in. Oh no, Caitlin, you had another thing coming. So she got kicked off, and now she had to run with the Mount Vernon Forward. And we don't need something like that. It's and she tried the last straw. Mount Vernon, Save Mount Vernon, had a forum. Caitlin performed very, very poorly. And all of a sudden, she tried to say that they stole all of the Mount Vernon forwards, performed poorly on every debate. They just don't know what they're talking about. They're not ready for government. They need to, be a student and listen to the teachers and listen to the experience. And, they will one day be ready to serve, but this is not the day. So Caitlin at the Mount Vernon, after Save Mount Vernon, she performed very poorly. So now she tried to discredit that organization by asking, and she didn't think, Caitlin is not very well liked. So the emails got out there that she emailed I believe, the director, asking to tell him to look into if Mount Vernon Public Library equipment was used at a rally. So Jeff Monroe, who's known in the community, has tons of audio equipment, video equipment. It was his own equipment. And Caitlin, once the email got out, she still didn't apologize to Save Mount Vernon. That's just who she is. That's who she is. Arrogance. Some would call it, white privilege. Now you have Ed Poteet. Ed Poteet wrote a book. It's called The Fiscal Cliff. It's on Amazon. Look it up. And it says how the Trump presidencies can benefit American cities. And, he wrote that book. You can order it from Amazon. Now he starts backtracking. Now he's just trying, when he wasn't running for city council, he benefited from the Trump tax policies, Ed Poteet is well off. He just bought a house by the Mount Vernon High School in Buena Vista. Taxes almost $30,000 over there. He's not, poor by any means. So he benefits from the Trump policies. Now all of a sudden he's running for the council. Now he's looking like he's the common man. In his video, he says, there's a video, you look on, Mount Vernon Exposed, you look on YouTube, you look on Mount Vernon News Center. He says, let me show you how to deal with the garbage I'm showing out. So, and he says the best tool to deal with impoverished communities is gentrification. And these are his own words. He had a TED Talk, and now he started cleaning it up because now he tried to appeal to the black people. So he thinks the black people in Mount Vernon are less educated and less sophisticated, and they don't have a brain. So we're going to show him tomorrow how much of a brain that we have. And then you have Danielle Brown. Don't know too much about her. And, I feel sorry. I feel like she got caught up with this Kenny Plummer. This mayor threw her, or, I could be wrong. Mayor Patterson threw her on this reform committee. I don't know what she reformed, because it seems like we have more violence. The quality of life deteriorated. We used to have an anti-crime group, anti-crime cops. Shootings were never this occurrent. There was not one shooting during the Wallace administration. I can tell you that. Not one shooting. People took some pride. The city was on the move, cleaning up that short 6 months. When Sean gets in, it's shootings. So when she tells the people, criminals are smart. I don't know what this mayor thinks, that criminals are stupid. Criminals are smart. So when you get on the news saying we don't have any gas in our car, the morale is down in the police department, we don't have it, we're out policed, like this with Ed Petit. I said, this guy there's something wrong with this guy. He's saying, he gets on the Sundays with Sean yesterday saying we don't have enough police. So what is a criminal going to think? A criminal's going to be like, I can get away with this. Sean saying, oh, this only given time we only have 3 cop cars on the street. We had to borrow cop cars from the county. A criminal is thinking, oh, now it's open season. So, she doesn't think, she just gets on that little Facebook Live and goes around like she thinks this is she's still celebrating her inauguration. That's what it is. She thinks she's still in party mode. She's just in party mode. She thinks every day is a party, she's at 5 or 6 cookouts over the weekend and dancing and singing Before I Let You Go. She just thinks it's a big party. But residents are suffering here in Mount Vernon. And tomorrow we have the chance to make her have a referendum on her mayoralty by defeating these Mount Vernon forward candidates. That's the only way she's going to buckle down and get to work, because these candidates, and I'm just going to give you my choices this is just my personal choices for city council. I'm not beholden to no one. I follow the facts, and I make my decisions based on the work ethic, the integrity, on the candidates. So I'm voting for ones, I like Delia Farquharson. And we don't always see, me and Delia didn't always see eye to eye, but she has an impeccable voting record on the city council. She did not vote for that legislation that authorized Kenny Plummer to unjustly enrich himself for $60,000. And I'm voting for Lauren Carter. I'm voting for Andre Wallace. I'm voting for George Brown. And I'm voting for Derrickson Lawrence. So I'm voting for George Brown because he has always had integrity, always treated like a gentleman. He was always business when you go into that clerk's office. And I like that. He's always busy. He was always business. I have a feeling this Tyree, it's going to be another Richie. He's just, you don't want to endorse, you don't want to vote for anyone that's endorsed by Sean. Darren Morton, maybe, he's a self-professed man of God. And, but he's just been a dinosaur in City Hall. He's been in the recreation since Ernie Davis. He's been the chief of staff. It's time for him to move on, go back to the ministry, and let some new blood in. Derrickson Lawrence, I feel like he had courage, and I was on the fence with him. I didn't think he had what it took, but he made me a believer when he filed that lawsuit. He made me believe when he filed that lawsuit. I was like, oh, wow, this guy, and because he didn't realize what the mayor was doing, was a travesty. You want to funnel money, bypass money to the water department through the clerk's office, and this clerk, you're the stewardship of records, and he's just going along with it. That's why you got to think, people. They had a plan, all this along, because in the Comptroller, that's why they wanted to fire Lauren and they wanted to fire George, because they knew you put this puppet in there, they're not going to question anything. Because that was a plan to reroute money through the water department for a long time because she felt some opposition with Deborah Reynolds. Deborah Reynolds, she's not easy. She's not no pushover. We saw that with Richie. So that's why she fired George and she fired Lauren. So that's why, and they had integrity. She wouldn't have been fired if they did not have integrity. So they don't want anyone with integrity or thinks for themselves. So that's why we need to return them to public service immediately tomorrow. And if you can volunteer with your candidates, go to the polls, tell your neighbors, get your seniors out, go to the buildings, all the senior buildings, give them rides to the polls. Listen, they're desperate. They may look like they have signs all over the place. Signs do not vote. People do. They're sending out text messages. The mayor's desperate. She's making robocalls. But I believe the mayor's presence, her big presence in this election, is exactly why she's going to lose. Someone just texted and says, how do you call in? So I'm just telling them. So you could download the Podbean app, Podben, and then you can call in on the app, Podbean app, and then you can call in. This is my first, let me just see here. This is my first, let me just see so I can guide you guys through it. Let's see. This is my first doing here. So let's see. How do I do this? So I've never done this before, but I'll tell you what. Next time. The next show, I'm going to have instructions on how you guys can call in, because this is my first one, and tomorrow, Thursday, you don't want to miss that one. We're going to talk about Hope Marable. That show will start at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. on Thursday with Hope Marable. That one is going to be, I'm going to start promoting that actually tomorrow. As soon as the polls close, we're going to start a lot of promotion on that one, because, the community, is fed up with Hope and her antics. And we need to seriously discuss and come together as a group to find out how to get her off of that library board, because she's very poisonous, and she's not stable, and we can't have anybody stable that's in charge of $4.5 million. I don't know if it's true, but there's allegedly. We'll get into those, because you don't want to miss that one on Thursday. But there's a lot going on in that library over there, and. So back to this election here, we have we need poll workers. So if you're familiar with any candidates, you need poll watchers. Make sure they don't cheat. Send in people. It's very you really hardly can cheat these days, because now you have an iPad. You don't have that book. You sign the iPad. I'm going to be the first one at my polling place at 6 a.m. That's how excited that I am tomorrow to, take back our city and let Sean, she got in, it was the right time. You had the Me Too movement. You had all this stuff going on with Harvey Weinstein. So, she rode on that wave, and she's a great talker, but you have to prove yourself. You have to work. She'll tell you she ran hundreds and tens of millions of dollars, companies and budgets. I don't know. The YMCA doesn't have hundreds of millions of dollars of budget. It's all nonprofit. So where does she run these non-profits and these companies and stuff like that. I mean, she's a great talker. She will convince you that mud is chocolate. No, she'll convince you. But she is quite dangerous. She's talk, and she'll talk over you. The loudest one usually is the weakest one in the room. So we need to. So we have a new building commissioner here. I'm just looking. He was hired as a building commissioner, and maybe this is Kenny Plummer's guy. I never heard this guy, Patrick Holder. We got to do some research on him, and we will have a report for you. Got to look into this guy here, building department. Where did he come from? And we got to figure out where this guy came from, because she fired Kendra, and she fired Kendra because she did not want to go along with her corruption. Kendra is straight as an arrow, and it was a property or something that Sean was affiliated with, and they were doing work illegally, and Kendra gave a permit. No, I'm sorry. They did not have a permit. So Kendra gave a stop work order and a violation. The next day she was called into the office. She was fired. So we can't have people around like that. We can't have people around like that. Like I said, if you have integrity, you're going to get fired by the administration. You have Malcolm Clark, who's paid close to $100,000 a year to attack people on Facebook. That's his job. He doesn't like what you're saying. He blocks you from commenting. He argues with the residents. He berates the residents. And then you have this other communications director, which I don't even know if he's qualified in communications. I don't even think he went to school for communications. Before I know, he was a former gang member that, and then he just was Richie. He's driving around 2 o'clock in the morning with a city car. And, you see big crowds around him. So, these are the people that she's hiring. And let her tell it, she told someone that he went to break up a fight, 2 a.m. He broke up a fight. That's what Mr. Sean Patterson said. He stopped to break up a fight. So I don't know. Did she deputize him? He had sirens on his car. He's impersonating a police officer. So, like I say, she let me see if any questions on here. No questions are on here. You guys can ask questions here. Your polling place is usually it's the primary, so it's not school election tomorrow. So you're voting at your polling places. So you're voting at your places. A lot of them tomorrow. I'm happy that they're not doing all of this, mail-in stuff. Go to the polling, go to the polls. Bring a friend, bring them out tomorrow. We need, because otherwise you got no one to blame but yourself if the Mount Vernon Forward candidates win. The election is won tomorrow. It's not all this campaigning doesn't matter. It's what happens tomorrow. It's the execution of tomorrow. The person who executes the best is going to win the election. You have to pull these people out pull them out, bring them to the polls, tell your friends. I would tell people, if you can take off work tomorrow, take off work tomorrow. You're doing yourself a great service for your community. We need to stand. Otherwise, don't complain when you have more mentally ill, more buildings with these mentally ill people, crime-ridden buildings. The new building that's going up on McQuestion Parkway. I have a friend that moved in. She told me that it's substandard. All the plumbers they quit. So she has leaks. And this is the building that just went up. And Kenny Plummer was part of this project. He was a lobbyist. She says the ceilings are falling down. Every time it rains, down the exterior wall, it's raining. It smells like mold. And she says they don't have no one to fix it. And this is the building that Kenny Plummer was. Let everybody know that Kenny Plummer. Someone told me, please let everyone know. The election is tomorrow. This is the most important election. I mean, you said the Ernie and Clinton was important. Then we had the Richie. Then you had no. This is the most important election of our time because you're going to have a good comptroller there, and now you can have a city council. The mayor only enforces the legislation that the city council does. I'll repeat that again. The mayor enforces the legislation. She doesn't create. She wants some city council members in there so she can create she wants to create it and enforce it. This city council is going to make her work. She's going to have to work or she's going to have to go home. She's not going to be on Facebook all the time and all this other stuff because if you know with these, if I know these people, they work. Delia works. Lauren works. Andre works. This ain't no, it's not no Marcus. It's not no, I want to say Janice worked, but, she's a little indecisive. And partially because she doesn't know the lay of the land like that. And, she doesn't want to make the wrong decision. But, we have people that just need to know, hit the ground running. And I believe these three can do it. Delia was on the school board. So that budget was triple the city. So she's, used to dealing with big numbers. So with this team, I think it's well balanced. I didn't take a whole slate. I took from different slates because, I look at the person, I look at their track record, and I look at their integrity is paramount for me. I don't want you stealing. I don't want you, when you steal, it hurts everybody in Mount Vernon. It hurts everybody. But this election, very important. Get these people to the polls tomorrow. If you can, I repeat, take off. Take off tomorrow. Bring a friend. Tell them to bring a friend. We need to show them. I don't care if you spent $500,000. Developers who do not live in this city cannot control the politics of this city. So if they win, you have no one to blame but yourself. And I'm included. I'm going to bring as many people as to the poll tomorrow as I can. That's my civic duty. That's why I'm back. I was dormant for a couple of years. Now I'm back. Because what the city is, I've never seen it this dirty. And then she tells you, you pay $26,000 and $30,000 in taxes. Well, sweep up the street, sweep up in front of your house. She has an excuse for everything. This mayor, if everyone's street sweeps up in front of their house, no, that's not an excuse for cleaning up. We're paying your salaries. This mayor has some nerve. Everyone picks up their garbage. Everyone picks up their garbage, but someone just sent me a picture on the 3rd Avenue, across from 33 North 3rd with a parking lot. Kenny Plummer was in charge of that project. Atlantic Development, every project this guy everything he is involved with turns to crap. You know, that's a good word I'm saying. I'm being nice on the word. Everything he touches turns to crap. That building on... Okay, someone wanted to invite, come in. Well, come in again if you wanted to enter. I saw you if you wanted to come in. Okay, hold on. Let me see who's this. I invited them. Let's see if they want to talk. Are you there?
I'm here, Sam.
Hey, who's this?
John Jones.
John Jones. Always a pleasure to hear you. How you doing today?
I couldn't miss your podcast, Sam.
Oh, no. What do you think?
On what topic? Well, tomorrow,
we're talking
like you said,
about the election. I mean...
well, you know, tomorrow is a very important election. I think the most important one is 3 years from now. But yeah, tomorrow is a pretty big one. It puts three qualified people on the council. So yeah, it's a big deal, Sam.
What do you think about the Mount Vernon Forward candidates?
I don't have anything personally against them. But you know, Kenny's a problem. Kenny's a problem. So you know, it's hard to. It's hard to say.
I was explaining the 33, the parking garage on North 3rd. Someone sent me a picture where they have like a homeless.
Did you see that?
A campus, like it's like we're becoming Skid Row, like in California. So I mean, and the mayor, she fails to mention that, but you know, that's her business. I think she wants all of these homeless people to come so she can get money from some type of federal government saying we have a crisis. So don't forget, she's a social worker. Again, everybody know she's a social worker, and this is what she does. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Oh Lord, I got tons of things to tell the people. Pick a topic. There's so much. You know, the election. What's happening here is that I believe it's all done by design. We are becoming Detroit 10 times worse. This thing with the controller, you know, is a smokescreen for something else, and I think most people know that. The only problem that I have right now is that it seems like there's a very small amount of people that are actually even looking at this. The general public is just not. I'm waiting for them to get their heads out of the sand and start opening up their mouths, because really this town is going to be worthless if the things that go on are allowed to happen. So
that's why I came back. You know, you have Mount Vernon News Center, you have Black Westchester, but I just felt like I need to come back because this mayor, everything, she's worse than Richard Thomas. Everything that she says is just not true, you know, and she has some infatuation with Andre Wallace. Like everything's Andre's fault. And I said,
well, I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, because her secrets will be exposed. Do you honestly believe that Richie, after being charged with 7 felonies, got away with a misdemeanor, was allowed to stay in office? We have a public official who stole money, but was allowed to stay in office to a sweetheart deal with the state AG, okay, at the behest of Lisa and Sean, and was allowed to stay in office. And it took a lot of fighting to get that undone. and then only to, have Andre, and what Andre did in 5 months is just short of spectacular. So they're worried that he's going to expose them, and that's why this is all directed at him, because he will expose it.
No, I agree. I'm telling people this is very important. We got to get the we got to get them out to the polls. I tell everybody, have your friends. I know, John, you don't live in Mount Vernon no more, but you have a lot of friends live in Mount Vernon. Bring them to the polls. I'm going to bring some people to the polls. You need to let this mayor know that we're your boss. You work for us. It's not the other way around.
And that's a forgotten thought process. Richie, you say this one's worse than Richie. This was Richie's protege.
I know that.
Yeah, we know that.
The same playbook every time. Yeah, but every time she has negative press, she comes out with some, Memorial Field video, where that video was filmed 2 weeks ago because she has braids in her hair. The video she released last week, she's walking at Memorial Field. She just probably pulled it out her cell phone. She didn't have braids in her hair. I mean, so we can see through the smoke screen, but there's some people that are still drinking the Kool-Aid. And but I think
a lot of people drink the Kool-Aid.
She's very nervous, and we can show her tomorrow that we mean business. And no matter how much money you're going to spend on this campaign, I mean, it looks like they spent a couple $100,000 on this campaign. And she's only taking up her opposition sign. She's not taking up anyone that she's supporting. So,
unfortunately, I think what has to happen is people need to start making a lot of noise. You have to draw attention to what's going on here, because, like I said, I mean, I still walk around the streets here. I know a lot of people, and they just don't know what's going on. And meanwhile, services have been cut. Equipment is old. I mean, we just can't. It just seems to me, we just can't do anything right. It just doesn't make any sense. We have become the county dumping ground. Okay, we've taken in. We have a methadone clinic at 5 and 1. Okay, we have homeless shelters. Now we can't even fill them. Now they're sleeping on the street. We got garbage all over the place. 11 o'clock tonight, go down by McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts. You're going to see about 500 rats running around the streets. And I'm going to tell you, it's been there for years.
Someone just sent me a picture of it, Jesse Van Lew, and I was disgusted at what I saw. He said it was coming home like around 11 at night, and it was blatantly these rats were just having a party, running down the street, and I'm just like, wow. And they was coming out the sewer, going into the garbage in Dunkin' Donuts, and but they don't care because no one holds them accountable. You cannot go to White Plains and New Rochelle and do this crap, or even in the city.
You can't.
Because they will find you so bad. But in Mount Vernon, where everyone knows somebody, and don't forget our ordinance officer is still out for stealing $1.7 million. So, the mayor's best friend. So, but every police officer is empowered to write tickets, but they probably don't know the code. But we do have building inspectors that she can hire. But you can't have police officers running around writing tickets. Right now we barely have enough to cover the sectors. No, I know, and I believe that's why
I think we lost over 30, easily 30 this year.
I believe that's what I was talking. I don't know if you heard me earlier, where the when the mayor's advertising on the news, like these people think criminals are stupid. Criminals, they're like, oh, you don't have no police, you don't have no gas, you don't have everything. We have to borrow cars from the county. The criminals are going to take advantage of this.
Of course.
Ed Poteet, the city councilman, yesterday stated that we're under-policed. So a criminal who's listening to her show, he's going to probably be like, oh, okay, at nighttime they don't have too many police. That's what I'm going to do my shooting. I don't know anyone that has got caught or arrested for any of these shootings lately, because we're under-policed. So, anything else? Any remarks? We'll wrap it up for tonight. Proud of my first show tomorrow, Thursday. We're going to be weighing in on Hope.
I'll be on what you're saying.
We're going to be weighing on for Hope, and that is a good show. You don't want to miss that one. That's going to start at 7 p.m. on Thursday, the 24th.
I look forward
tell
to
a
it.
friend to tell a friend, and with that said, we're gonna close it out. Thank you, John. And,
good job tonight, Sam.
Well, appreciate that, and we'll see everybody on Thursday.
It's not just a character
Okay.
flaw. It's just rank.
Oh, I forgot this. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you Thursday.
You've been listening to Mount Vernon Exposed. Samuel L. Rivers has been a community activist since 2008. He's appeared on local and national news outlets, and he runs the popular blog Mount Vernon Exposed. We pride ourselves on coming right out and saying what needs to be said. We always welcome your tips. Send them to mountvernonexposed@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at City of Mount Vernon, and find the show on iTunes and Spotify under Mount Vernon Exposed. Till next time, keep one eye open. You've been listening to Mount Vernon Exposed. Samuel L. Rivers has been a community activist since 2008. He's appeared on local and national news outlets, and he runs the popular blog Mount Vernon Exposed. We pride ourselves on coming right out and saying what needs to be said. We always welcome your tips. Send them to mountvernonexposed@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at City of Mount Vernon, and find the show on iTunes and Spotify under Mount Vernon Exposed. Till next time, keep one eye open.